It's a no-go for now, with plans to switch to the SimplyGo platform by 1st June are shelved. That means you can continue to use your older EasyLink and Nets FlashPay card to pay for your fare beyond June the 1st. But the cost for this current ticketing system to continue? An extra $40 million. Well, joining me now to get to the point is senior transport correspondent Lee Nian Tjoe. Nian Tjoe, so $40 million. That's what Transport Minister Chee Hong Tat said the authorities will have to spend to keep the current ticketing system running. But what's that large amount of money being spent on? And more importantly, will commuters end up having to foot part, if not all of that bill?
I think the first part to get to is, are we going to end up paying more in terms of our fares? And the answer is no. It's no, because in the calculation of fares, the formula that is used does not include this element of how much it costs to collect fares. So on that part, at least, we can all be assured of that. As for the spending of this $40 million, it's a big figure, but what we don't know is how long is this 40 million supposed to last us? Are we buying 10 years more on the system? Are we buying 20 years more, or is it just for 1 year? So I think the consideration changes because of the duration of how much this spending is going to last us. The other thing to think about is that this 40 million is in one way not additional spending that the government has to make, but rather the amount of money that we're otherwise going to save. Because back in January 9th, so a couple of weeks ago, when an announcement was made that they want to transit adult fare systems onto this SimplyGo system, as in they want to make us get rid of our old cards, it was because of the high cost. So they're trying to save money and say that we're going to do this, we're going to save some money. Well, now that we're not going to have this deadline on June 1st, they're not going to save this money. So what was saved is now had to be spent.
So, Nian Tjoe, just to be clear, the amount, that $40 million, is not an additional, but it is money that is being saved if we had switched, or if we had decided to switch to the SimplyGo platform.
Yes, that's my understanding. That is, if we had kept to this June 1st switch over, there will be no need for this extra money. This money that is going to be spent on renewal of the maintenance system behind it, the servers, and even the hardware. At least this is what we know at this point based on our communication with the Land Transport Authority.
And of course, we know that the plans to switch to the SimplyGo platform is halted, but the platform is still there. Nian Tjoe, will the plans be revisited in the future, you reckon? And if so, what do you think can be done better for the switch to happen more seamlessly?
I think if we look back at what we already have reported about, is that number one is more and more people actually on the SimplyGo system. Right, so SimplyGo system on one side for the most of the complaints because of the card, right? That we need to upgrade or change our EasyLink cards or get rid of our Nets FlashPay. But really, for the majority, at least based on what the minister has shared in his post, is that over 40% of payment of adult fares are actually done using credit cards, bank cards. So these is all part of, I would say, the pluses of the SimplyGo system. So as to, will we then come a point again, we're going to say, hey, we need to transit, we're going to switch off the old cards? I guess a lot of it would depend on how many people remaining are using this card that is not a bank card, not your Nets card, not your credit card. So adoption is going to be important. If we're going to say now, based on what has been communicated, they say about 60% of all payments, of adult payments in December were made on the SimplyGo platform. So that means there's under 40% among us that's still using the old cards. So I guess the learning here is that at this point, 40% is still too many people that are going to be compromised or at least inconvenienced.
So it's all good and well that it appears the government was listening to commuters' concerns in this incident, but the plans for a more unified payment system here are still unclear. Hong Kong has the Octopus card and London has the Oyster card. How do cities around the world run their ticketing system? Can we learn something from there?
I think actually that's actually the mission at hand now. I think on the side of government, they're saying that they're going to find out how to do it. On our side, at the transport team at the Straits Times, we're actually doing a research as well, finding out just how do these metro systems work in terms of payment. I think one thing to note is that in all these payment systems, there are, and with all technologies, there's a plus, there's a minus, there are pros and cons, right? One of the things I'm really gleaning from in the early research is that if by moving the system of how the money is stored, right? Whether it is done at the card, which is a stored value card, or in the back end, there is a cost saving already because things are reconciled in the back. You could also potentially grow and use this system a little bit longer because you can do software updates versus calling up all million cards and say we need to change it because the technology has moved on. So it's a lot of learning that at least collectively we're all figuring out, right? Because on one hand, of course, the government will pitch these are the reasons, these are the difficulties, and we're also trying to investigate why, speaking to experts, and just to see really what is the accurate picture, what's the best picture we can have in terms of the way forward. Can we actually have a unified system where one card pays for everything, or is it fewer cards at least? More convenience for us, less friction in this business of getting around.